It is, and then last night, I mean, like a Mexican casserole.
We had
And
to.
that's what
Like
I'm-
an enchilada.
Yeah, it's like layered tortillas, then like seasoned meat, and then cheese, and then like
You do like an enchilada sauce in that?
we couldn't find enchilada sauce, so we used salsa verde.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's about an acre. Enchilada casserole was a staple in my history. Dinosaurs takes it.
For some reason, I didn't have enchilada sauce at all.
Oh.
I couldn't find it at least.
So I don't want.
We don't think of it. I made some. mess.
And I'm not new
I made this one sweet.
I'm not new to religion, I'm not new to church, I'm not new to us. I grew up. I was very sad at the other Roman Catholic other side. I don't know those. Oh my gosh.
I remember having.
I denied my best so much. I have to deal with that because I was out there.
And- Oh,
Yeah.
All right.
I know that. You know, I had some. I said, I want to try it. Oh, I don't know, just float together. Yeah, that's what they always say.
Yeah.
I can't match your squad.
Do you think I should run down or maybe I'll just take a peek?
The way they roll the cameras.
I think we can get started, do they?
You know.
Yeah.
All right.
Did it get announced downstairs?
I announced that we were starting at 22,
So, okay.
but if you want, I can run down and say that we're starting at this.
No, if it's been announced.
Yeah.
Let's try to get some water. Do you want some?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, do you want plain water? I just put out lemonade.
Oh, okay.
There. You wanna open it up? What do you want me to? Sure.
Hi, welcome. So let's kick off, with, names, pronouns, how long you've been coming to St. John's? And if you were here last week, what ministries were you interested in? If you weren't here last week, what are you interested in? Okay, let's go around. Do you mind, starting us off and we'll go around?
Sure, I'm Holly, I use she, her pronouns. I've been in St. John's for just 2 months. And looking at the ministries, I believe it's Open Home was one that I was thinking that I was interested in.
Oh, Project Home?
Yes, Project Home.
Great, yes, that's a great one. So every month we do dinner at a homeless shelter called Project Home. And it's nice because you have a group of people that sign up and go, so you get into a smaller group and you get to meet those people. Very cool. Tim?
I'm Tim, been coming here since May or so for a few months. I'm already in the choir, so I'm particularly interested in that. That ministry, I guess.
How's that going? Why don't you tell us how are you finding the choir?
It is, I'm really loving it,
Uh-huh.
but it's not easy. I mean, it's demanding, but it's worthwhile. And I love kind of having an active role in the service.
That's
So-
great.
I'm just afraid I'm gonna And during these processions, I'm going to trip on these.
If you feel like your robe is too long, talk to Jill.
Yeah.
It's not that, it's, there's not a step where I think there should be, and I.
I get it. Thank you. That's great for anybody else that's considering choir. Ryan,
My name's Ryan Musgrove. I use he and pronouns. I've been coming to St. John's for a little over a year now. I'm currently in the choir as well. Possibly would be interested in either Eucharistic minister or lector. I've done those things in other churches I've been in, so.
does everybody know what a lector is? Anybody that doesn't? Could you share for Holly's benefit?
Lector is the one that reads the readings and the prayers of the people.
We use a lot of strange words in the Episcopal Church, so I always want to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about. Jax.
Hey everyone, I'm Jax Collins. I use she, her pronouns. And I've been coming to St. John's, since maybe August, I think. And, so I'm, the coordinator of the youngish adults ministry. So if you'd like to be on that listserv and you're not, please let me know. We haven't started gathering yet, just trying to get, interest gathered, things like that. So definitely interested in that ministry. And, yeah.
Good, thanks, Jax. Sue, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Sue Mercier. I have been coming on virtually during January, February, and March because I just moved here from North Carolina in December, and I wasn't sure about the ice. But I am very, very regular. I have been Episcopalian for many, many years. I'm interested in how I can support St. John's, but right now I'm I'm at Marvella and I'm doing a ministry there for reading buddies where we go to a local school and we take reading buddies over there. I'm doing some activities there, but I eventually would like to join you on lector and things like that. You don't want me in the choir, trust me.
I'm in the choir, so they'll take me.
So, I just glad to have a church that I really feel comfortable in. I feel comfortable. I love the music. I love the people. So I'm still getting used to it. I'm not ready to just dive in.
No, but good for you. You're taking your ministry out into the world.
Yes.
So that's great. That's awesome. Anne.
Hi, I'm Ann. I've been coming with Sue. She's my driver. I'm the rider, she's the driver. And, so we've been coming, since March maybe?
I think so.
Yeah. And we've liked the church from the get-go. From the first time we came in, or at least for me, it felt wonderful. I think outreach is really my thing. I don't drive anymore, so some of these activities are a little hard for me to do, especially the evening ones, finding a night ride, so. But I think outreach, maybe the serving the meals is something I've been thinking about doing. Possibly at some point being an usher, not right now, but at some point being an usher.
Oh, you'd be wonderful.
And I've also sort of carved out, and am carving out, kind of my own ministry at Marvella. In terms of I'm volunteering with the memory care unit and doing some things like that. So I'm taking it out. I know it's not in church, but it's my service.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
You're using your gifts. That's
I think
wonderful.
so.
Yeah.
I think I am.
And if you are interested in any of the outreach that requires, getting somewhere, speak to the coordinators. They may be able to get you a ride.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the coordinators are for every ministry are wonderful people. They're friendly. You can ask them questions. You don't have to just sign up with them. You can call them and talk to them or email them and ask questions.
Good.
Great. Heidi, would you introduce yourself?
I'm Heidi. I use they, them pronouns. I've been coming since March, I think. I am interested in Project Home and yeah, kind of like service oriented stuff, and I'd also be into maybe being an usher at some point.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, awesome. Emily.
I'm Emily, I use she, her pronouns. I also have already joined the choir, so I have found some ministry so far. In the future, I think I would like to get involved in other parts of the liturgy. But right now, I'll echo what Tim said about the choir being demanding in a good way.
Right.
And I would also be interested with the Project Home, kind of getting back to my years working in a restaurant and food service that I,
Yeah.
yes.
And the other one, if anybody's interested in Project Home, also First Nations Kitchen is very similar thing at the Indian Mission. So they serve native food to native people, which is fantastic. So that's another one. Yeah, that's very similar to Project Home. Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Rachel.
You. I'm Rachel and use she, her pronouns. I was here last week and something that I know was being talked about, I used to lecture at my home church and I would love to get back into that again. I also talked about participating in the equivalent of your confirmation classes, like.
Oh, great. With the youth?
Yes.
Great. Shelley would
It's a matter
love.
of balance.
Yes. You know what? You can bring baby in thing.
Would I be considered cool among young people?
Uh-huh.
They like me, so like, the bar is low.
Yeah.
You are like way overqualified and cool. I have an 18-year-old brother and I try so hard and he comes out cooler than I do. Those are some of the things that I was.
Great. Well, we have a new CYF director and I'm sure she's would love to meet you. So please do reach out. That would be very welcoming for her as well. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah.
I'm Matt, this is Nathan. Rachel and I have been coming for about a year and Nathan emerged about 7 months ago. But, I use he, him pronouns. I was not here last week, so I guess I'll just have to look more into what is needed. But I was a pastor's kid, so I've done a little bit of everything, so there's probably something I can get involved in.
That's great. Yeah, there's a lot of things.
Are there things you've done in the past that you'd like to do more of? Or things you've done in the past, which you're like, I'm done?
Oh, right. Facility lecturing is always fun. Just generally helping out where there's needs that I hear about, so,
He's fooling you. Give her a few years and he'll probably be in the choir.
Great. Thank you all so much. You know Judy and I don't want to hold this up anymore, so we'll just plow on if that's okay. All right, so actually before we jump into this, let's do Safe Church. Ignore what's on the screen right now. I talked last week about that we would be talking about Safe Church. Coming together as a community is wonderful. There's also opportunities to offend each other. There's opportunities to hurt each other and things like that. And at St. John's, we're very aware of that. And so we try to create a safe culture for everyone. And that's not easy. We're human. We make mistakes. That's why we need salvation, right? So, but if we're all starting from the same playbook and we're all trying our best, and we can extend grace when there's mistakes, and we know what to do if it's more than a mistake, right? So, Safe Church is the National Episcopal Churches program, and we have adopted it. So has the diocese, and this is the actual policy is like this thing. You don't want to read that, I have to, but you don't. So what this is very summarized, things that you will want to know. We start on the first page with the training requirements. So as you start to get involved in ministry, if you fall into one of these 4 buckets, so you won't be clergy or paid staff, But you could be a volunteer working with minors, Rachel, or vulnerable populations. If anybody wanted to go into pastoral care or Eucharistic visitor, somebody mentioned, going out to people's homes, then that you would fall into that bucket. Vestry wardens and elected positions, not working directly with children or vulnerable populations, but you are still making policy. So it's very important for you to understand. And so as your time here evolves, and if you become an elected leader, then this would be where you are. And then other key holders, lay leaders, adult ministries, and users not working with or making decisions about ministry with minors. So that's for if for your ministry, you might need a key. You would need to do these. And then we've got behavioral guidelines. So just in summarized form, it seems like we should all know how to behave, but things change, and what was okay when I was, younger is not okay now, and whatever. So I would refresh yourselves, just take a look down that. Don't worry about offsite permissions. That's really for youth going on trips and stuff, but responding to problems. So if something does happen, if you witness something that you don't think is appropriate, please don't ignore it. If you are comfortable doing so, it would be nice to just speak to the person, hey, we don't full hug children. Do a side hug, right? Something like that could, you could speak to them. If you are uncomfortable speaking to the person directly, then please come find a member of staff and we will take care of it. Okay? If things get more serious than that, if it isn't just a mistake, then there is a confidential notice of concern that you can submit to any member of staff, and we will take a look, we'll look into your concern. Okay? I'm going to be honest with you, I've never received one of these, but I think it's because we are proactive with this. And then on the next page, St. John's Code of Conduct. This is not requirement, but we do hope that each of you joining the church will make a commitment to continuing to keep our community safe by just signing this, initialing and signing it. It's just a tangible way of making your commitment to help us keep everybody safe. And then later on, we won't go through all these, but there's background checks. If you fall into one of those categories that requires training and background checks, you would fill those ones in and give them to me. And we run background checks. Any questions on safe church or just safety in the community in general? Yes.
The training, how often do you?
Every 3 years. It used to be 5, but we shortened it to 3 because we just want to make sure, because as I say, things change.
And where is it done here?
Actually, it is now all online. We used to have trainers come in several times a year, but during COVID, obviously it had to be online, and we've just found that that's okay. So
now you can do the training at any point, which is great. So,
and if you just want to do it anyway, if you don't fall in one of those buckets, but you're like, you know what, I want to learn about this. I want to, help keep a community safe. I want to know what is right things currently, what's recommended things currently. You can do the training. You just let me know and I can get you set up for a login. Okay.
How do you turn these in?
Just tear it out and give it to me. I've done it so that all the ones on the right hand side are the ones that you might need to tear out. So you could just split the booklet in half. I think like that. Or I'm an administrator. Okay, any other questions about being safe in community? If you have, I should say the other way around as well. If you have ever feel unsafe, if you're unhappy with somebody's behavior, also please come talk to a member of staff. We want to A, support you, and B, speak, and it could be anonymously, to the person, and just help them course correct. Okay, so please do speak up. I shouldn't make comments about
Yeah, let me second that and just say, even if you're like, I'm not quite sure. Like, just come and chat with a staff member. You know, we can kind of help you. Work through your feelings, you know, if you felt uncomfortable, we wanna know, not so that we can like, you know. Grab somebody and say, you're acting inappropriately, but so that we can just get a sense of the relationship and like what, if there are, you know, whatever issues there might be. We just wanna help people make sure that they feel okay with each other here. And we can't do that if we don't know that there's things that feel not good.
Yes.
So,
And the
so don't
clergy,
feel like you have to, it has to be such a big thing, like you're, you know, like indicting someone, you know, to come
Yeah.
before a grand jury or something.
and the clergy here are very good at talking to people about, and you know, in the way of love, we call it turn. It's
Mhm.
not sin, it's not you're bad, it's not anything like that. It's changing your behavior,
Yep.
taking a different course. So in case you're worried, you know, that this person's gonna get in trouble, if it's deemed that they need to be spoken to, the clergy are so good at talking with people about that kind of thing.
And I love your language, Sarah, about course correct. You know, sometimes turn or repentance, you know, it's like, oh, that's huge, oh, but it's, you know, just, let's adjust, you know.
And we've had to do a lot of that, you know, with, as we have more and more like the LGBTQ community, we were actually part of the Vote No thing years back. And, you know, at that time, we didn't have a lot of LGBTQ people in our community. And there were people here who didn't know, you know, how to interact. And so we do a lot of that kind of thing of helping people understand how to behave in situations that they may not be used to being in.
Yeah.
So, anything else? Okay, so now we'll get here. So, last week we focused on 2 of the 3 key resources that are gifted to us by God in order to fulfill our mission. That was time and talent. And I'm glad to hear that you're all finding ministries that you're interested in. And they will be richer for your sharing of your time and talent. But today we're going to consider the 3rd resource, which is treasure. And let's be honest, what we're really talking about is money. Not going to try and sugarcoat it. Now, when I say that, who's starting to get uncomfortable when we start talking about money, and especially giving it away? The reason that we get that, and most people do, is because we all have a money story. Perhaps we're living from a story of fear or shame or guilt, or a story that our actions won't have an impact, or a story that we don't have enough. To allow us to talk about community and to avoid unhealthy behaviors that may hurt our community, it is important to recognize the money narratives we tell ourselves and to work through things that may be holding us back from the abundant life promised to us through Christ. Does everybody get what I'm talking about? People who have money stories, negative money stories, can act out, and that can hurt our community. So it's important for us to each individually work through our own money stories. The clergy and I have lots of resources for those interested in exploring their money story, and I encourage you to do it. It's quite an empowering thing. We've held several forums and workshops that have been recorded. I can share those with you. I also have workbooks. I put some out on the tables if anybody's interested. I have reading recommendations, and of course, myself, clergy, we are available to sit down with anybody that wants to discuss their money story. It is very freeing when you can let go of all of that stuff, and you'll be surprised how much from your youngest memory to now you're carrying. And I think Jesus knew just how complicated money is for us and how easily our relationships with each other, but also with God, can be derailed if we do not check our relationship with money, which is why he talked about money and possessions more than faith and prayer. True. Therefore, our money story is actually a spiritual story, and I encourage you to explore it. Any questions on that? When we share our finances, it's important to have oversight, transparency, and accountability. And at St. John's, we take that very seriously. We know this is your money, even when you've handed it over. This is your money that you want spent on the mission, and we are very, very aware of that. And we make sure that it is spent on what you're expecting it to be spent on, and we like to be transparent about that. There is oversight to make sure that happens, and there is accountability if anything doesn't happen the way it should. St. John's Vestry are ultimately responsible for our finances, and the vestry is like the board, so it's an elected members, just like you, who've been elected to represent. And they are the ones who determine the budget every year and then make sure that it is followed. They elect a treasurer who oversees the day-to-day financial operations. So he's kind of like my boss. But he keeps an eye on everything. He signs every check and he checks that, you know, what he doesn't just come in and trust me and sign it. It's not that he doesn't trust me, but he comes in and he, you know, he wants to see, okay, what's this for? And do you have the authorization and so on. So he's very thorough. He's awesome. He chairs the finance committee who regularly review our financial situation. They used to meet monthly. They've cut it back a bit now. I don't know if it's every other month or quarterly, something like that. But they still do. They review our financial situation and make recommendations to the vestry. We also elect trustees to oversee our endowment. So we are incredibly fortunate. Prior generations put money aside that now we have income from. And that takes the burden off us having to raise that money. And that is called the Cornerstone Trust. We also use an accounting service to run our payroll, handle taxes, prepare our financial statements, provide advice when we need it, and help us prepare for our annual audit. And we do have an audit or a review every year by an outside organization. And the accounting company is outside as well. So if they see anything, they're going to call it to our attention. So the other thing is you can view our financial statement of mission, annual reports, and more on our website. I'm just going to show you that so you know where you're going. Okay, so on our website, if you are interested, under give, how funds are used. This is the financial statement of mission. That is what in layman's terms is called a budget. But we call it a financial statement of mission because we try to put our money where our mission is. And so it's actually, that's what it really is. Annual reports. This is the reports we do every January, and they're all here for you to see. So you can always look at previous stuff. There's information about the Cornerstone Trust, and then this is donating your treasure, your time, and your talent. The last Sunday of January, we hold an annual meeting. That's in our bylaws. We have to do it. Excuse me, when leadership will present financials from the previous year and their plans for the year ahead. That's an opportunity for all of you to hear and ask questions. And Rick and I are always glad to answer any questions you may have. Rick is open to talking to anyone if you have questions about the finances, and me too. So any questions or comments before I move on about how we manage steward your money in order to fulfill the mission? Okay, then I will move on. Here, so this is actually a visual representation of the 2023 Statement of Financial, actually, can you see this? Because I know last week, I did try to make things bigger, but I know last week people were having trouble seeing things. I can pull stuff out if you can't see it. Okay. As you can see, nearly 2/3 of the resources we receive come from member pledges. The treasure our members planfully give to St. John's is what makes all of this happen. At St. John's, we believe stewardship of our time and finances is the way we make our faith tangible. We give out a gratitude for all that God has given us because there are needs that cannot be met without our help and because it reminds us to trust that God will provide what we need. Every fall, we have a commitment campaign where we ask all members and supporters to let us know their intentions for the coming year. We'd like to know what you think you will be able to contribute financially and of your time and talent. Don't panic. Nobody is going to hold your feet to the fire. We totally know that it's just an estimate. But having those estimates helps our leadership budget and plan responsibly for the coming year. We never want to just take a guess and then build a budget around that, and then we don't get anything like that, and then now we're in debt, right? We don't want to do that to St. John's. Equally, we don't want to underplan, and then we've got all this money we're just sitting on. Somebody once told me, money is paper energy. So just imagine if we have all this energy sitting in a pile over here, we don't do anything with it. But if we take that energy and we push it back out, whether that's programming for our members, faith formation and things like that, that nurture us and help us go out into the world, be good disciples, or whether we're giving it directly to our partners who are serving people in need, that energy is going out. That's far better than just sitting in a corner. So apart from the endowed funds, we want to make sure we are being good stewards of the money that you entrust to us, and we're doing what we said we would with it. Okay, so at this point, I'm usually asked questions about how much to give. It's a hard question to answer because it's so personal. It depends on your unique situation and your relationship to God, because ultimately that is what it's all about. What you have been blessed with and what you can give back. Some people find that giving a proportion of their income, so saying that X% I'm going to give, helps them make giving back a priority. I also like to share our giving tree. Now, this is a little out of date because I didn't update it during COVID because giving got wacky during the pandemic, as I'm sure you can imagine. But we are starting to settle back down to something similar to what you see here. As you can see, there is a diversity of giving at St. John's, from $100 a year to $30,000 a year. So there is a spot for everyone. And every single donation counts. It's because there are so many donors in this middle tier here. Excuse me. It's because there's so many here that this middle tier is contributing nearly as much as the top tier. So it's all about how many people, not how much. Just that you do give. Excuse me, I'm really losing my voice. There's no expectation, there's no judgments. All we ask is that you contribute something. Be a part of the impact our congregation has in the world. My best suggestion is to pray on it, consider your own situation, and for all you are grateful. Maybe look at the gift tree and pick an amount that feels comfortable. Any questions?
Is that information in this?
No.
No.
That's for exploring you, Ellie, thank you. That's for exploring your money story.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, I should have held that one up. That's one of the resources, the workbook that we used during some faith formation. Okay, so we're in the middle of this year's pledge campaign, and we would love for you to invest yourselves through the resources God has given you, your energy, your prayers, and your money in this work to which God has called St. John's. If you haven't already done so, please complete the commitment card on your tables. I left a few, and you can hand them to me. Any questions?
And Sarah, if, on the St. John's website, there's a place to do online pledge as well? Did I
Yes,
think?
there is.
Yeah,
I can
so,
go back there if anybody wants.
so
to
yeah,
see
if
that.
you go on that give tab, if you would rather do it online,
Yeah.
it's there as well.
It was under donate on the give tab. Okay.
It's on this thing too.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
QR code, very nice.
Did you want this up? Oh, that's, looks like it's last year. All right, well, that was all I wanted to go through with you. They always bring me in at the end to talk about the boring practical stuff. But if you have any questions, please always contact me about any of this kind of stuff. I'm more than happy to work with you on whatever's on your mind. Okay? Thank you. I will hand it back to Judy.
All right, so today is a very practical day, as you've already perceived. And so what we're doing for the rest of our time together is, all the things related to welcoming you as quote unquote welcomed members. So I'm gonna get your RSVP for, next Sunday. Are you gonna join us for, the service and be welcomed in the service? Do you plan to be there? And for the reception afterwards, want to make sure we've got plenty of yummy food. And then we want to get you into My St. John's, which is our member database and essentially our parish, our parish, what's the word I'm looking for? Directory, thank you. I just like, the word just went away like that. So it's our parish directory. So, folks can get in touch with you. You can get in touch with folks. It is very safe and secure. It's a little clunky, but we'll get you signed up for that. Both Ellie and I are here and we can help you with that today. And then also get you signed up for the newsletter. So that's really what we're doing with the rest of our time. We're going to have kind of a couple stations. Ellie, are you willing to take this beauty and get people signed up? And I'm just going to close this because we've finished the exciting presentation.